Good morning, everybody. It's my great pleasure to welcome here the delegation of the Hamburg Institute for Advanced Study. They provide something unusual to the scientific landscape we have. They provide something unusual in terms of science funding. So we all know that science funding is a great headache for everybody. It is usually turned to so-called average conditions, to an average scientist, to an average scientific group, average institution. And today, the main feature of the average institution, scientist, or group is the need to perform, to show performance, which means publish research papers to get funding for next research. And in Estonian context, it means get funding to continue your own job. This pretty much leads to overload of top researchers. Everybody has to work hard to earn a tenure, to earn a long-term position, which means, on the other hand, it is extremely difficult to start a high-risk and high-gain line of research, and it's even more difficult to change a research domain or a field. A clear adverse consequence of this kind of philosophy is that people start to play too safe. So they say, play field for mediocrity. It doesn't actually mean that mediocrity is inevitable, but it's a natural outcome of this kind of science funding, which means in terms of science doing predominantly low-risk and low-gain research under this publish and perish philosophy. Kind of orientation on average is also visible in terms of timescales of funded research. It's always a few years. It's too long for crazy ideas, which you can disprove within a few months, and it's too short for a long range of humanities and social sciences, which do need longitudinal studies to understand the entire process. So there are two major gaps in this sort of landscape. First, long-term research, like Deutsches Rechtswörterbuch, which has been performed 125 years, and now it is at letter T, which means still 15, 20 years to go. Okay, this is really extreme, but the Heidelberg Academy of Sciences issues research grants with the shortest duration of 18 years. So another gap, which is also a major gap, is doing some research which is not funded by classic funding, which is too crazy or too deviating from classic lines of thinking. This kind of research is funded in Estonian Academy of Sciences in terms of academy research professors. The positions are created at least for 1 year and maximum 3 years. We have had more than 20 years free such kind of positions for blue sky research, which is strongly competition-based, but the topics are coming from researchers themselves. From last year, we have several positions with predefined topics, and we have last year filled 2 positions in Arctic studies for 1 year, and this year we have filled 1 position for Estonian language and its teaching also for 1 year. But we do feel the necessity to fund shorter studies, not only for crazy research, but also for talking to each other, to talk people from different scientific communities, to talk people from different scientific areas and countries. And this is a gap which is systematically filled in many countries by institutes of advanced studies, and we are really ashamed that we do not have such a working institute here in Estonia. We have an empty box which hasn't been filled with content, and I hope very much that today's presentation helps not only people who are wishing to make some crazy research, but it's also instructive to our academy how to get this empty box living. So I'm wishing a very nice discussion and information day today.